Okay, hello, this is Giuliano Sansone from University College Dublin, and today I'm going to present a paper recently published on IEEE transactions on engineering management with Antonio Ghezzi, Paolo Landoni, and Andrea Rangone. This paper is open access, so in the link that you see the DOI here, you can have complete access to that, you can share, you can do what you want, and I hope you will read the paper with interest. But today I will do a very short video to summarize what we discover in this paper that is titled Students, Entrepreneurial Engagement and Student Entrepreneurship, Do Coding and Digital Skills Matter? So first of all, I want to say a few words about the motivation of the study. So I hope all of you knows that nowadays the universities have three different missions: to teach, to do research, but also to have an impact. And one way to do that is, of course, to promote entrepreneurship. They also are developing a lot of courses and strategy to foster entrepreneurial intention in student entrepreneurship. And also students are interested on this topic. Even if there are a lot of different studies, especially on entrepreneurial intention, and a few of them recently start to analyze student entrepreneurship, we discover, at least to our best knowledge, that no one has studied the individual level factors such as coding skill and digital skill on student entrepreneurial intention and student entrepreneurship. To better understand what we have done in the study, we were using the human capital theory and the social capital theory. In the paper, you can find all the information more in detail how we were using that, but just to say a few words, for instance, for the human capital theory, you can divide skills into knowledge and experience. So for instance, we divide coding skill in coding knowledge and experience, and we did this, the same for digital skills. Some definition to better understand what we refer to with some terms that I say already before. So for instance, with students, entrepreneurial intention, we refer to students who declare an intention to start a business in the future. With student entrepreneurship, we refer to nascent entrepreneur, so students who already are in the process to create their own startup. So for instance, they run a business plan, they already create the business model canvas and so on. And active entrepreneurs, so those are students who already create and running their own business. So for instance, they are co-founder or solo founder if they create alone the business. Then we create a new term that is called student entrepreneurial engagement. They refer to all of them. So student entrepreneurial intention and student entrepreneurship. In other words, this can be students that they say that in the future they want to run a business, or those students who are nascent entrepreneurs, or those students who are active entrepreneurs. Here are just summarize of our hypothesis. In the paper, you can find all the information to justify this hypothesis, but I just want to summarize that we wanted and we hypothesized that all digital knowledge and experience and coding knowledge and experience have a positive and significant impact to student entrepreneurial engagement and student entrepreneurship. How we tested our hypothesis was with this study that is a quantitative study. So we did a very big survey in 2017 composed with a lot of questions in Italy, focused on the Italian university. We received almost 4,000 answers. However, after a lot of data cleaning, we finalized a sample of 2,608 valid answers that we were using for our regression analysis. Just to give you a better understanding of the variable that we're using in our regression analysis. So with student entrepreneurial engagement, we create a dummy variable that is equal 1 if the student has an intention to start a business, or if the student is currently trying to create a business, or if the student is running already a business, and 0 otherwise. Student entrepreneurship is a dummy variable equal 1 if the student is currently trying to create a business, or the student is already running a business, and 0 otherwise. Then, of course, we create a lot of different variables for coding knowledge, coding experience, digital knowledge, and digital experience. I don't go in detail of all of them, you can find in the paper, but of course, those are variables that allow us to understand if the student has some knowledge or experience in coding or the digital world. Of course, we also include several control variables such as age, gender, work experience, and so on. So just to understand better the data, the variable that we have, I always like to have some qualitative information that better understand us or what we are talking about. So for instance, in our sample, we found 34% of the respondents as student entrepreneur engagement, 9% of the students are student entrepreneur, The coding knowledge is higher than the coding experience. This is because I would say you need to have some knowledge in order to run some coding. Very interesting is the opposite for the digital world. So they have some experience, even if they don't have some knowledge. So the digital experience is higher than the digital knowledge. This is also because we say usually that, you know, an iPhone, even a children can use that without any knowledge. Then here are all the regression analysis to test our hypothesis. Again, I don't go in detail. You can find all the information in the paper, but just to you know, you can see, for instance, here in the first line that coding knowledge is statistical positive and significant for student entrepreneurial engagement and student entrepreneurship. The same for the experience. And then here we test digital knowledge in different way. We were using different variables. Also here is always statistical significant and positive, the impact on digital knowledge, and similar also for digital experience, that is statistical significant and positive for student entrepreneurial engagement and student entrepreneurship. So to summarize, in conclusion, we find a statistical significant and positive impact on coding and digital skill on student entrepreneurial engagement and student attention. Of course, there are some limitations. There can be some reverse causality. Those are analysis based on the answer of the student, so it's self-declaration, and we were using only 1 year in one country, but with a very big example. So this, of course, can also suggest future study to deal with this limitation and improve also what we were discussing and find in the study. Okay, these are also some main reference. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you read the paper, if you have any feedback, let us know. Thanks so much.